Hey everybody, it's your boy VG Time back again with another deck profile. And this time I'm doing a little something different. Usually I wait until I have the cards in my hand before I come out with the decks for the next set. But honestly, I couldn't wait. I think this deck is pretty cool. Had a couple of rounds with it on Untap. And yeah, I think there's something really good going on here. The leader we're talking about is none other than our boy Power Pole Goku, also known as Pole-ku, PP-ku, or Schlong-ku, depending on where you're from. This leader has a lot of good things going for it, on top of a decent draw engine, hard removal, as well as the typical red minus in that we come to know and love. Brings out with the leader that he has an auto that says when you attack, you draw, which is typical. But then he has two awakening conditions. One is if you have 4 or less life, and the other one is that if you have 2 or more energy and your opponent has Son Gohan awaken hidden power under the opponent's leader, you get to add a power pole to your hand, draw a card, and then flip them over and take life down to 6. I like these kind of dual awakenings, one with a condition that allows you to awaken on turn 2, and the other one is, even if you're at 1 energy and your opponent just is threatening to like turn to you, you at least have the chance to awaken still. Anyhow, let's look at this alternate awakening condition of Son Gohan awaken hidden power. This is the card that they're talking about. As you notice, on the card, there's nothing that actually puts it underneath your opponent's leader. But if it is underneath the leader, you cannot get removed from underneath the leader by skills other than this card's skill. So that means that if you're going against like a Surge leader, like say Surge Broly, which started coming back out, or if you're going against a deck like Cell, for instance, that could just remove 2 cards from underneath it, they cannot use this card as cost. Also, it brings out that if your opponent has 4 more energy, when your opponent plays a red battle card with both Son Goku and Piccolo, play this card from under your leader to your opponent's battle area. So you kind of have to read that as your opponent. When you play the boss monster for the archetype, you play this guy out, and of course on play, you get to take one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and give it minus 35k. So you get a free 30k beater that minuses something, but at the end of the turn, you put it underneath your leader. That makes it kind of interesting for things like mirror matches and whatnot, and it also allows you to not have to worry about balancing this card too much by having to stay out there on the table. We play 2 copies because we want to have an opportunity to get it underneath the leader. The way we do that is by using Chi-Chi as well as the Ox King. These 2 right here have an auto that says if your leader card backside is this guy's backside and your opponent leader doesn't have the Gohan underneath it, if they play a card or if they attack, you get to search your deck for the Gohan and put it underneath their leader. So it kind of puts them in a situation where they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. If you go first, you're guaranteeing your turn to awakening. Hell, even if you go second, you're pretty much guaranteed to have this turn to awakening. So now that we got out of the way, we look at the awakening. It says reduced energy cost of a power pole by red. Now we already mentioned that when you awaken, you grab a power pole. So we look at the cost reduction. This is pretty significant because power pole only costs 1 energy. So reducing it by red means that power pole is inherently free. Power pole is a part of the card advantage engine that this deck has, and basically if it's underneath red Son Goku battle card, it gives that battle card plus 5. The way you get it underneath the battle card is by choosing one of your mono red Son Gokus with energy cost 3 or more, and without cards that have the same name or without a power pole underneath it, and you get to place this card underneath it. Then it has the activate main limit 1. If it's underneath the Son Goku battle card, you get to draw a card, then choose one of your opponent's battle cards with power less than or equal to the card that this card is under, and KO it. So that's why I mentioned that it has hard removal. This allows you to not only remove things, but have a pretty wide range of what it can remove as long as it doesn't have barrier. Now the second permanent on the backside says if you have a red Son Goku or Piccolo Z battle card in play, your Son Goku cards with power pole under them get critical. So we have, these guys right here as option for Z battle cards. We have the Piccolo that if you have a power pole underneath the Goku, gets reduced by 1 in your Z deck, so you're only really paying 1 and 1 Z energy for this guy. He's 8 stacks of Son Goku full power, and then if you have 3 or more energy and it will leave the battle area, you could pitch a card to play the Goku from underneath it. This to me is a pretty cool thing that we got going on here. The reason being is that a lot of times when you have these Z stack cards, if your opponent just answers them right away, you end up losing both cards. This time you don't lose both cards. You still get this guy right here. And when he's played, you gain barrier for the turn. So if this happens on your opponent's turn, you can still play him out and have him be somewhat protected. Then he has an auto once per turn that if there is a Son Gohan Awakened Hidden Power under your leader and your opponent's leader, when your opponent plays a battle card, you choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, and that card gets minus 10k power for the turn. Great auto to have because it doesn't really care about what battle card it is. You can actually minus a different battle card on the table, but it is auto once per turn, so if they play something with barrier and there's nothing else out there, you kind of just lose the auto. There's the activate main once per turn. If you place one card from your hand at the bottom of your deck, add one power pole from your drop to your hand. So this is power pole recursion. You know, there's going to be times where the pole gets put into the drop due to the card up on top of it being KO'd or whatnot, and this helps you to get it back. So yeah, as long as at least one of these two cards are out there, your Gokus with Power Pole underneath them gain critical. So what are our targets? You know, we just talked about how cool Power Pole is and how there's all the support for it in the deck. The targets are a couple. One is this guy right here. There's actually another one that is in the archetype where you could play it for a single red for the same condition, which is that you have a mono red Son Goku leader and you have the Gohan underneath either your opponent's or your leader, and you get to play it from your hand. That other one gets the power pole directly from the deck, but we have ways of getting pole from the deck. So instead, we play this guy that if he has pole underneath him, when he attacks, you get to top 5 search for a Son Goku or Piccolo with cost 5 or less. Of course, that means that you're going to get 2 cards because you're going to get one from searching, as well as 1 card from using the pole effect itself to draw a card and to pop a guy who in this case would be 20k or less. Now the other archetype guy is of course Son Goku Overwhelming Power. This guy you can pay for a single red if you have 3 or more energy, as long as your leader is a red Son Goku. And then this guy has a cool auto limit 1 that says when you activate the activate main skill of a power pole underneath this card, which is the drawing popping ability, you switch it to active mode. That's very powerful, especially if you have a Z battle card out. That means you have 2 swings of 25k crit, which your opponent then has to be able to deal with, while also being able to draw cards and pop something that's 25k or less. And then it brings out that when this card is KO'd, you get to draw a card, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, and that card gets minus 20k. So it kind of is a weird way of trying to make your opponent not really want to deal with it. So it's again a great target. And then we have the boss monster for the N archetype, which is Son Goku and Piccolo, arch rivals fighting together. So you have Deflect Double Strike, and this guy right here, when he plays, gives your leader +5 until the end of your opponent's next turn, which means that you bean your leader basically. You play him for double red as long as you have 4 or more red energy, and when you play him, you put a Son Goku or Piccolo from your drop underneath him. Activate main once per turn. If your leader is red and you place 1 card from under this card in a drop, switch it to active mode. So similar to the 5-drop Goku, you have like a pseudo dual attack situation. What's cool about him is being double strike is that with the Z battle card out and your leader on the backside, he becomes basically, if you pull him, a 30k dual attack double strike crit, which again, very powerful play. I'm also running another engine. You might have been clocking it the whole time I had this up here, but we are playing SS Son Goku, the Legend Personified. So as long as you can meet the Bond 3 requirement when you activate this activate main, you are able to give him plus 21k. It's because of 25k beater. Then we have 2 things we could do with him besides just attack. One is that if we do attack, we get to evolve this guy on top of him. You also just evolve him regularly, but attacking with him will allow him to gain advantage of his when you evolve, draw 1 and switch it to active mode. So that way you get more attacks in. But if you evolve this guy over this 1 drop after a gain of itself plus 21, the 21 carries over to this guy and becomes a 40k. He is, of course, a 3-cost Son Goku, so you can pull him, and when you pull him, he becomes 45. At that point, he could KO any battle card without barrier in the game, or without barrier or indestructible in the game, because there is nothing right now that is higher than 45k attack power. That's a regular battle card. Keep that in mind. Also on swing, it is able to minus 15, which is very strong as well. It almost made me want to put a couple of copies of One Hit Wonder in there, but I think it's a little bit too unreliable for that. We also have this card right here to take advantage of the Goku, where it says place one card, well actually no, choose one red stand card in your battle area, play this card from your hand and place a chosen card under it. So the 21 will go over to this guy as well, making him a 41, and of course if you pull it, a 46, same situation. Except for this guy could also pitch a card from underneath it to -30 one of your opponent's battle cards, which is pretty solid. You might as well just like pitch the pull after you already used it, and then you could get back the pull with one of your other cards and re-pull another Goku. Alright, so then we have some standalone cards. We mentioned the Krillin several times. This guy, if you pitch him, you get to add a pull from the deck or from the drop to your hand. We also have Son Goku Divine Presence. I'm surprised this card isn't played a little bit more. I understand for double red we're getting 30k triple strikers nowadays, so a 25k dual attacker may not seem like that great of a deal, but still it's pretty decent. If you do get to play him and you pull him, he usually is going to be a 30k dual attacker or a 35k dual attacker, because you could give himself both boost. And so at 35k and you activate, you get to pop 35k or less, which is most non-ultimate boss monsters. He also can't be removed by skills during your turn, so he's pretty safe to go in on as well. We have our ultimate, which is the Vegeta. You could run a bunch of things as your ultimate. This is just the one I chose because this is what I have access to. But Vegeta, very strong ultimate. Just overwhelm, rip a card out your opponent's hand, 40 quad striker, give your leader +10. When you combine that with the boss monster, it makes your leader 30k on your opponent's turn, which is usually good enough to be able to stave off any attack. His super combo is Piccolo, mainly because it's searchable. It's nothing that it does that is way better than anything else. Being a 0-10k, again, I'm a big fan of it, but it's not like you absolutely need to have it. For defense, we run some basic negates. We have Testing the Ops, and we have King Vegeta's Imposing Presence. Both of them are solid. Nothing really to talk about there. Then we have the Toa. Toa is my overwhelming choice in this particular situation because I wanted to take advantage of the Z battle cards here. Primarily Son Goku Defender of Life and Vegeta, SSB Vegeta Rush Attack. Just to be able to restand them in the swing again and all that good stuff. But it's probably not worth it. It could be anything else that you want this to be. You could make this whatever. Same thing with the ultimate. There's a lot of flexibility in these two slots. And even this guy right here is kind of flexible. And he may not make the final build. So, with that being said, hopefully I'll be able to get all the cards together, build it in real life, and be able to show you guys some games with the deck. And then after I had a few locals to play with it, about 10 rounds or so, I'll show you a finished deck list of physical cards so that you guys can look at it. As always, the link is down below. So if you just want to see the list and we want to use it as a starting off point, have fun doing that. And I'll catch you again next time. This is VG Time, signing out.